Why, hello, everyone. Hello. If you don't know this voice by now, then why are you listening to the podcast on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music Podcast, or Podbean.com, or their official app, or watching this video on YouTube? What is up, guys? It is James, aka Jimmy Pancakes 20, back here to do a new video / podcast for you. And then this video is going to be part 1 of our 3-part series, finally getting around to doing our HHN Hollywood 2025 review. And guys, you are wondering why it's going to be in 3 parts, because I didn't want to make each part too long for you guys, and I wanted to do it separate. So part 1, which is this video / podcast, we are going to talk about all of the mazes on the upper lot, as well as the Tram, and that will be the end of part 1. Also, a lot of people have been asking me why I was in a wheelchair on opening night, and after thinking about it for a while and taking a long time, I'm finally going to give you that answer in this video / podcast, guys. But before we get to why I was in the wheelchair and then get to the meat of this podcast / video, again, I'm joined by my lovely co-host. You know her, you love her, my mom, Marsha. So, Mom, say hello.
Hello, everybody.
So, let's address the elephant in the room, because a lot of people wanted to know why I was in the wheelchair on opening night. So, for those that don't know, I'm a decent sized guy, but I was a little heavy back in 2025. It really started when I was working at Universal. I would have these constant back pains, and they would hurt my back. So one time I had to go to the emergency room, and they did an x-ray of my back and stuff, and it came back that I had spinal bifida. So if you guys don't know what spinal bifida is it's a back problem. A lot of people have it, and basically what it is some of your spine bones, sometimes some of them are too close or some of them are not too far, and sometimes what happens if you do certain moves or something, it'll hurt your back. And so that particular night when we went on opening night, my back was killing me, and so that's why I was in the wheelchair. And then sometimes I had to stand up and walk around a little bit. You know, I had to do both things because I couldn't do it. And so after opening night, I really said I need to get better. So I've been working with my doctor. I've been working on a lot of stuff, and I will say I feel a lot better. I'm a lot more healthier, per se. I'm still overweight, but I've been working on myself. So that is the reason why I was in the wheelchair. For people that saw me or fans saw me, that was the reason why. So hopefully this year for Horror Nights I won't be in a wheelchair, but you never know. And also another reason why I was in the wheelchair as well is I hurt my foot really badly too. A couple of days before opening night, and it swelled a little bit, so that's the other reason why I was in the wheelchair too because of my foot pain and my back pain. So do with it as you wish, but I know a lot of people wanted to know why, and that was the reason why. And just to let people know, spinal bifida I'm going to have for the rest of my life. Like, it's never going to go away. The best course that I can do is try to lose weight, try to, do stretches like my doctor said, and try to work on it so my back can feel a lot better. So, just wanted to let people know. So, since we got that out of the way, let's get to the main point of this video. Let's talk about Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood 2025. Now, before we talk about the mazes and the Terror Tram, first, Mom, I want to get your impression on the event as everything was being announced and stuff like that before we went on opening night. And then we'll get to the actual mazes and stuff like that.
My impression is when some of the mazes were announced, no, I didn't like the one in the announcement in the old Walking Dead attraction Fallout. Never seen it, but James said he didn't really like it. And Terrifier, I was definitely looking forward to because James made me watch all 3 of the movies before we went.
And we'll talk about those as we get to them.
Friday Nights at Freddy, I was really excited about. Jason, I was. All the rest of them, I was looking forward to. So, yeah. I mean, a lot of good mazes that year. We only saw a couple of them, but I watched them with James before we did this podcast, and they looked really good.
Right.
So that was my impression. James?
Right. So, as Marsha speculated, just to let people know, that we only went on opening night, and we did the early admission, so we got to do Terrifier as well as the Poltergeist maze, and we also did the Terror Tram. But at that point, we were there for a couple of hours, and my back was killing me, my leg was killing me, and I wasn't feeling good as well. So that's why we left early, and we never went back to it because also there were some things that I needed to take care of, and I will say I'm better this year. There's a lot more events that we're planning to go to that I could go to. Last year was kind of a rough patch for me, dealing with my back, my leg, and the other stuff that I cannot mention in this video. But as I can say, this year I'm so much better. I've been working on my back, on my legs, to get better for all the events that I want to do, so I can meet fans and stuff like that. So that's what I wanted to say. So again, when we get to these mazes, the only ones that we did on opening night was Terrifier, Poltergeist, and the Terror Tram. All the rest of the mazes that we are going to talk about is what we saw on YouTube. I did notes about them. I still wanted to rank them even though we didn't go through them. So there you go. So Marsha jumped the gun a little bit, but it's okay. It's a co-host. She likes to say things, but I want to say this year for HHN Hollywood 2026. We are planning to go more days so we can see every single maze this year. And we are going to maybe do some stuff that we haven't done for the first time. We're planning to do things that we haven't done at Horror Nights before for the first time this year. And we'll talk about that as it gets closer to the event. So, as Marsha mentioned, the first maze that we are going to talk about is Fallout. And before we get to that, I also want to let people know how we do the rating system is we do it from a 1 being the worst to a 5 being the best. So Marsha has her own scores, and I have my own scores. So, and I'm going to make this clear for people as well. We only do scores on review video / podcast. So if I'm reviewing Halloween Horror Nights, if I'm reviewing Not Scary Farm, if I'm reviewing a movie or a TV show, or if I'm doing a food review, or any new event that I go to this year. So like FanFest, I'll do a review from a 1 being the worst to a 5 being the best. In all my history videos, there will be no score because I don't want to do it because those were in the past and they were a long time ago. But I like to share the history. So for any history videos that come out, there are no scores. Review videos / podcast, there will be a score. So once again, any history videos / podcast, no scores. Review videos / podcast, there will be scores from 1 being the worst to a 5 being the best. I just wanted to cover that basis so everyone knows. So now let's get into it. So ladies and gentlemen, the first maze we're going to talk about is Fallout. And this is one of the mazes we did not see live or went through. It was in the UBE building, or better known as the old Walking Dead attraction. This maze was based off the Fallout TV show that was produced by Amazon. Everything was was produced by Amazon. So if you want to watch season 1 and season 2, they're available now on Amazon Prime. I only watched the first episode because it was free without paying for Prime. So I did watch the first episode, and then a buddy of mine, I was hanging out at his house, and he had Amazon Prime, so I watched the entire series. So I understood what was going through in the maze as we were watching it. Marsha has never seen it. Mm-mm. So yeah, just some other facts. I played the Fallout game, so I played Fallout 3 with all the DLCs. I have played Fallout New Vegas with all the DLCs, and I played Fallout 4, the main game, but I didn't play any of the DLCs. So I am a fan of this series, and I kind of did enjoy the TV show, even though, it wasn't really with the game. It was its own story, but I understand that. So, as I said, I only watched the first episode. It was free, and then I went to a buddy's house, and we watched the entire first season. I still have to watch the second season, so if I want to watch the second season, I have to get Amazon Prime, so, I might watch it in the future, but this maze was only based off season 1, so there's no reason to watch season 2 unless it comes to Horror Nights this year. There you go. Okay? So, basically, this maze follows the story of the TV show where it's Lucy's story from the first season. It starts in the Vault 32 where it gets attacked following her journey for the wasteland to look for her father who was the Vault leader. Okay. First room that you enter is the first room that you enter is the start of the maze where there's a big Fallout sign and you go past that and then you're technically in the maze. The first room that you enter is the vault where you see Lucy getting married. Lucy comes out from the right, scares you, and then one of the raiders comes from the right and scares you, and they double team you. And then in the wall, there's a dummy of one of the Vault people on the wall because, it's when the Vault was getting attacked during her wedding day. And then at the very end of the hall, before you turn left to go to the next room, there's another raider that comes out and scares you. Then you go through Vault 32 sign. Another raider comes out from the right. And so there's 4 characters within the first 2 rooms. The next room I call the hanging body room, where there's all these hanging bodies of Vault 32 people that you have to move out of your way as you're going through this maze. Someone comes out straight with a light for you, and I don't remember this character. Probably just a Vault survivor, I would say. The next area you enter is you're out of the vault. You're in the wasteland. To the right, you see someone come with a pipe. Don't remember this character's name. And on the left, there's a window, and you see a ghoul come out, but it's not the cowboy ghoul that was the actor from the TV show. Just a regular ghoul. You'll meet him later in the maze. The next room you enter is a forest area where I have left of you, there are more ghouls from the TV show. The next area you enter is a minefield where you see the character Marcus with the T-100 suits on the ground from the Brotherhood. They have the armor. And he is fighting a mutated bear that pops out from the right. Then you enter the super duper market. I misspelled it. Market. It's a famous place that you go through in the video games. It also was recreated for the show, and you see the actor Ghoul Cowboy. So this is the actor that helps Lucy throughout her journey. He comes out, he's greeting you. Then you enter the market, and you see a robot. This robot is the servant of the family in the 4th video game. It's the robot that has multiple arms and stuff. They can do a lot of different things. And then, of course, Lucy comes out with her Vault 32 jumpsuit, comes out and scares you. And she's like, has medical pads, like, kind of like the pads that are used for, like, to restart someone's heart.
Or the chest.
Yeah. That's the best way I can describe it. And then the final room, you're in the main store. And there are 4 different ghouls, actors and actresses that are popping out left and right, scaring you. And then, as you exit, you see a sign that says, "Welcome to New Vegas," because at the end of season 1, you see the father heading towards New Vegas. It's one of the Fallout's game locations where you meet Mr. House or Mr. Howard, and that would be a location in the second season of Fallout. So if you're interested in watching the show, you can watch season 1 and season 2. That's now on Amazon Music Prime. So that is the end of the Fallout maze. Your thoughts, Mom?
I've never seen the TV show. When I was watching the maze, I didn't really understand it because I didn't see the television show. Some parts were good what I was watching. Some parts were bad. So my score, since I really didn't understand it, but some parts were really good, I would give it a 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5, okay.
Because I really didn't understand it. So if I went through the maze, I would have understood it better, but that's my score.
Okay, for me, because I did watch all of season 1, I did understand the locations and stuff. They did the best that they could because this is one of the smaller venues. If it was in a bigger venue, it could have done better.
Like in Stones Days 15 or something.
Or one of the Sprint tents or something could have been better. I did understand. I did recognize some of the characters and stuff. So, for me, it's an average maze. I have to give it a 3 out of 5. Now, the only reason why I can't give it higher is if they did it based off the video games. I think a lot more people would have enjoyed it better than the Amazon TV show. A lot more people have played the games, and honestly, the games, in my opinion, are better than the show. So, I mean, that's
the reason you gave it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, if it was based off the video games, I think it would have been much better, but, Amazon, but what can you do? So, it was okay. Okay?
Okay.
So now we're going to move on to the next maze, which was in the Persian courtyard. And again, this is another maze that Marsha and I did not see. We only watched it on YouTube. So the next one is Monstruos 3, The Ghost of Latin America. So this is the third installment of the Latin America monster maze. But this one is different. This one is based on 3
new characters?
No. It's based on 3 female monster legends.
I think I know which one it is for the first.
Well, I have the notes. So the facade of this maze is the same as it was the last 2 years, where it was the grave and you enter the mausoleum and the grave digger comes out from the left and greets you. The first 2 rooms you enter is the mausoleum, where you see dummies of dead people, and there are 2 live dead people that pop out and scare you from the right and left. So, I want to apologize to everyone that speaks Spanish. I'm going to try my best to say them as best as I can. So please do not get mad at me because I don't speak Spanish, but then I will also spell it for you. So the first female monster you meet is La, and I'm not even going to try to attempt to say this name, so I'm just going to spell it for you. So the first one is A-L, and then it's M-U-E-L-O-N-A. Don't even know how to say it. So basically, she's kind of like a vampire that kills men because she was wrong in something. So that's the kind of research I looked up. So she's basically taking revenge on men that do her wrong.
Okay.
Something like that.
Got it.
So the first room you enter is you see the character. First room with this character is you're going through a courtyard or like a town square. It was hard to decide. It was
courtyard or
a town square. It was hard to determine exactly what it was.
Okay.
But there was also a fountain in the middle as well.
That should be a courtyard. If it's a fountain, it's a courtyard.
Okay, but also town squares also have fountains too. So
true.
There's a dummy in front of you that is the distraction, and then pops out to the right. So then the female monster pops out from the right, and then you make a left turn and you pass the fountain, where another one comes out from the left. So again, a double
whammy.
Mm-hmm. Then you enter the next room where there's a dummy of a headless person that's cut off, and then the final one comes out from the left of the dead body. So there's 3 actresses that play this monster, and one dummy in this room. Okay, so the second one that you meet is called, and again, I'm not going to try to say this character. It's L-A, and then it's S-I-G-U-A-N-A-B-A.
Don't even know.
I don't even know how to say that. Basically, she is a shift shaper ghost. So, like, she can basically turn into anyone, just like the cop from Terminator 2 3D. So
yeah,
that's a reference in case anyone wants to know.
I understand that.
Can take a form of a person, but she can't take forms of things. She looks like a half woman, half horse like creature. So the first room you enter, you hear you are going through a temple, and she comes out from the left and gets you in her horse form. I totally messed that sentence up. She comes from the left and gets you with her horse form. That's what I was trying to say.
Like she changes into a horse. That's what it sounds like.
Yes.
Okay.
Then the next 2 rooms are a hallway. One comes out from the right, one comes from the left. And then that's it for this character. So only 2 rooms for this character.
Okay.
Now, the final one, we do have history with.
Can I say it, James?
Yeah, go ahead.
La Llorona.
Yeah. So, a little bit of history before we get into this. So we get to our final one, which has a history at HHN and 1 year in Orlando. The final one is La Llorona. So here's a brief history. In 2010, we used her on the Western Street. Who remembers the Western Street? I'm asking people that are watching this. That was the first time we ever used that character, and it was a scare zone on the Western Street. Then in 2011, 2012, we did a full-blown maze with her. This was back behind Shrek 4D. That's now the DreamWorks feeder.
Right.
And then... Yep. And then in 2013, my first year going to Orlando decided to do La Llorona. I'll talk about that when I get to the 2013 history video of my first time going to Orlando, because there's a difference between the Hollywood one and that one, but I don't want to spoil it right now. And then in 2022, they brought her maze back after 10 years in the Persian courtyard where this maze is right now. Again, I'll talk about the difference between the 2011, 2012, and 2022 when I get to those years of the history. So you're just going to have to wait to see the difference from all 3 years and the one from Orlando. Sorry, no spoilers.
You have to wait, James.
They have to wait, yes. Yeah, and then she is now part of this maze as the final character you meet. So basically, if you don't know the backstory of La Llorona, basically the legend of La Llorona was that she had 2 children with her husband or boyfriend at the time. Then her husband cheated on her and she was unhappy, so she drowned her children in either a lake or a river, and then she drowned herself. But because she killed her children, she's now looking for her lost children. So they say if you hear her whispers, you are marked for death. That's why parents say don't go out or you will be attacked by La Llorona. So, going back to this maze after a little history lesson for you guys that don't know who La Llorona is, you now know. So, in this maze, there's a little bit of an outside area that they have. And so, in this outside area in the Persian courtyard, you see the scene where she drowns her children and she comes out from the right and she tries to grab you to become one of her victims. Mm-hmm. The next room you enter is you're in someone's house, either a parent or a grandmother with 2 dummies of children. She's probably pretending to say, don't go out or La Llorona will get you. I think that's what they were doing for the scene to
right.
say it. And then as you're exiting that room, there's a window to your left. It's locked, but then La Llorona is tapping on the glass trying to get in. The next scene you enter, this is a scene that they have done for all 4 years. For every single year for La Llorona. This is one of my favorite mazes, or favorite scenes. There's a giant puppet of La Llorona, and an actress lays her inside the mouth, or dummy lays, and she's pretending to be swallowed by La Llorona.
That big puppet head. I remember that one.
And then a next scene, that was a famous scene. I'm not going to tell you the years that went there, but I will say it wasn't there for 2011. It was there for 2020, for 2012, and 2022. So again, I said there was not going to be spoilers, but there's only 2 spoilers because these scenes were in there, so a little bit of spoilers, but not too much. Where you see another kid that's face first in a giant puppet's head with in her mouth, and his legs are kicking. It's not a live actress, they are automatic legs. So there you go.
Right.
So again, one more spoiler, because again, this is something Universal's Halloween Horror Nights likes to repeat. One last one from all 4 years. There's a giant La Llorona that comes out and pretends to get you. So then the next room, you see the grave digger again. And he says this grave is for you because now you're part of Liam, and this is the same ending for all 3 years of the Latin America maze. For the first 2 years, this was the grand finale room, but it was not the grand finale room for this year.
Oh. Okay.
The final room was going through dark hallways where all 3 monsters that you saw in the maze were popping out one by one, and then that was the end of the maze. So that was the end of the maze, but since 2019, it led to a scare zone that was either tied to the maze or the same theme, which we're going to talk about the scare zones later in a different part. So now we are done. So, Mom, your score for Monstruos 3, The Monsters of Latin America.
I really liked this maze when I was watching it on YouTube with you, James. It was very, very entertaining. So my score is a 5 out of 5. I really liked it.
Yeah.
This year.
I think this one, I really wish we did not miss, because I would have loved to go through this one. I totally agree with you.
Your score is 5 out of 5?
5 out of 5. They done everything right. Scare zone I'm questioning about, but we'll get to that scare zone when we get to that video / podcast, because I don't want to say too much about this.
No, you don't, James.
No, I do not. Alright, so moving on. Okay. This one was one that we saw live. Okay, so for the rest of this video, we're going to talk about Terrifier, which we did see live. Poltergeist, and the Tram. So the last 3 that we're going to talk about in this video, we did see. All the rest we did not see. So let's talk about Terrifier. Now, before we get into this, I have to read this because these are on my notes. this maze is based off all 3 Terrifier movies, 1, 2, and 3. Just a little fact, my mom did not see any of the Terrifier movies until 2 months before the event started. I saw the first one. I saw the second one. When I was working at AMC, the third one came out, but I never saw it in theaters. So I waited until they were on Peacock. So, sorry about the cough, guys. So, I thought to myself, we need to watch number 1, number 2, and number 3 because they were all on Peacock at the time. So, my mom was over at my place, and so I decided we're going to make a movie night because Terrifier was already announced for coming to Halloween Horror Nights. And I said, let's have a movie night. And I forced my co-host, my mother Marsha, to watch every single one. We didn't take a break. We just went from number 1 to number 2 to number 3 for about 6 hours of torture. And she did not like it, but she was grateful that we watched the movies because she understood the maze. So, before we get into the maze, would you like to comment on what I said?
Yeah, he made me watch all 3 movies. I wasn't happy about it because they were gross. But I'm glad I did because I understood the maze. I was really mad at James at the time, but I got over it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he tortured me with those 3 movies, but they were really good, but they were really gross too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I have to say, James, about that.
Okay, so moving on. So the facade. Oh, and if I did not mention, this was in Curious George or H Lot Tent 1. So if you're looking at Tent 1, that's the one that's closest when you first enter H Lot. Tent 2 is the further one where Poltergeist was. So if you're looking at it, Tent 1 would have been where Ghostbusters was last year, and then Universal Monsters, that was in Tent 2 a couple years ago. So just to clarify, Terrifier was in Tent 1, which was the closer tent as soon as you got to the H lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I was saying, the facade for this maze was the fun house from the second movie. And something really cool, Art the Clown would come out from one of the side doors and would interact with guests in line. So this is not the Art the Clown that was a roaming Art the Clown. This one was specifically to be at the maze to interact with guests waiting in line to go into the maze. Mm-hmm. I just want to make that correction. So, as you walk in, you enter a hallway and you see the photos and pictures from news clipping seeing all of the killings from Art the Clown and the victims that are missing. So, as you exit that hallway, there's a dummy right in front of you, and then to your right, Art the Clown comes out and scares you. So, again, misdirection, you're looking at the dummy. Art the Clown comes from the right.
Scares the bejeebers out
And
of you.
scares the bejeebers out of you. And I love it. So the next room you enter, we call it the Saw room, where you see Art the Clown sawing someone in half in the table. And I want to clarify, this did not happen in the movie. This is a scene that Horror Nights created there for the maze. I'll tell you the scenes that were in the movie. That was not in any of the movies. So now we get to the next room and we see our first famous kill. And this is from Terrifier 1. I call it the upside down kill, where the girl was cut in half, hanging upside down, completely naked.
I remember that one, James.
I was waiting for a reaction from you.
I remember totally that one in the movie.
Uh-huh. The next room you enter was bleach bottles, and we're spraying water thinking that you were getting sprayed with bleach, but it was just water. Next, and then there's another dummy of Art the Clown that you're looking at that scares you. The next room you enter is the sister's room from the second one, where you see the sister dressed up in her warrior costume come out and scare you from the right. And then they also did the bedroom scene where the girl gets killed in bed, but they didn't do it exactly that way. So let me explain. In the second movie, there's a girl that's getting ready to go out, and Art the Clown kills her, and she's in bed, and this is where he pours bleach all over her and stuff like that, and her mom comes and finds the body and stuff. They really didn't do it that way, but they wanted to recreate that scene. So to make it better is the warrior girl comes in and sees the body instead of the mom. And she's on a chair, but they still did the same kill where he's pouring bleach on her and stuff like that. Just except in a bed, it's on a chair. So.
And it's a dummy, right?
And it's a dummy.
Okay.
So then you enter the next room where you see Art the Clown and the dead girl that looks like Art the Clown, which I can't remember her name. And it's the attic scene from the third movie where one of the workers is killed in the attic, if you remember that.
I vaguely remember, but I think I remember that one.
Yeah. That was another kill that they did.
Mm-hmm.
And Art the Clown this Art the Clown was dressed in the sister's hair that he killed from the first movie.
The blonde hair, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You remember that.
I remember that, yeah.
Next, you walk down the hallway with hanging dolls. Walk in. Now, one of my favorite scenes that they recreated.
Can I say it? I think I know.
From the second movie.
The bathroom scene.
No.
Oh.
It's not the bathroom scene. We are getting to a bathroom scene, but it's not the bathroom scene.
I don't know which one that is.
It's from the second movie where the sister has a dream and they recreate the playground and the trailer from the Clown Cafe.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I remember
and
now.
Of course, Art the Clown is in the trailer and he pops out and scares you. There you go.
Yeah.
The next room you enter is a bathroom where on the left you see Victoria, the sister that survived, with her head all messed up. It's like the corpse version of her.
Right.
And then there are 3 stalls and there's 3 different heads. One of them is the mother from the mashed potato kill, and the other 2 I forgot. But at Midsummer Scream, John Murray talked about it. So I'll put a link to the video. So if you guys want to see what the other 2 kills were, you can watch it because I can't remember at the top of my head. And then at the end, Art the Clown is there, and he pops out from the right, and his hands are all poopy, and he tries to touch your face with his poopy gloves. So then, this was a little trick that I enjoyed that they did, Mom.
Yeah.
They had a chicken door and said, "Don't follow the chicken." So you thought that you were
Safe.
that you were safe, and then you were going out of the maze, and then Art the Clown is dressed as one of the workers that has the robe on. Remember?
Right.
And then it's funny. You think you're backstage, and a worker is on headphones and saying, "Hey, you're not supposed to be here," and on my break and stuff. And then Art the Clown comes in and says, "Hey, you can't scare me," and then he cuts the guy's throat. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then the next room after that is from Terrifier 3. Where Art the Clown is dressed up as Santa Claus with a chainsaw.
I was wondering when that scene was going to come up.
Where he kills everyone in the mall. Just for a fact, in the movie he does not use a chainsaw. That was only for the maze. In the movie he uses a bomb. It was just for reference, use a chainsaw instead of a bomb. Then you go through a hallway with Christmas lights, and Art the Clown comes out again with a chainsaw scaring you. And then the final room, you're back in the garage from the first movie. Art the Clown comes out, and then you go through these dark hallways, and the final Art the Clown comes out, and that is the end of the maze. And then I want to preface this because I want people to know in a future video relating to this topic, we're going to talk about something else that Universal did with Art the Clown. That was the first time they ever did it in the history of Horror Nights Hollywood and Orlando. I'm not going to spoil it, but you just have to wait to see what we are talking about. So that is the end of the Terrifier maze. So your thoughts, Mom?
I really like this maze because I'm glad I watched all 3 of the movies. I could understand it. He scared the bejeebers out of me in each room, and all the scares were really, really good. So my score is like a 5 out of 5. I really like this maze.
5 out of 5. Yeah, for me,
Very well done.
Everything was perfect. If they brought Terrifier back, I would go through it again. This was one of the most popular mazes there. Everyone wanted to see it. So
what's your score?
Yeah, 5 out of 5. It was absolutely perfect. There was absolutely nothing wrong with this maze.
No, not at all.
Now we're going to talk about the next maze, which is the other one in the Carrier Store's parking lot, or aka H-Lot Tent 2, Poltergeist. So just a little history about this one. This was based off the 1982 movie. This was the second year that they did it. The first year they ever did it was in 2018. When we used to use the Metro sets back in the day, but we don't use those anymore. So there are a lot of changes that were made from the 2018 one.
To this one, right?
To this one, but I'm going to give my opinion of which one I think is better after I discuss the 2018 one. And yes, there are some scenes from the 2018 one, and then there are some ones that are major different. And I'm going to say the obvious one was there are more black walls in this one than in the 2018 one. That's one of the main changes, and then I'll talk about the difference after I talk about the 2018 one. So, the facade, this is the only spoiler, I would say, or not really a spoiler. The facade for this maze was the same one from the 2018 one. It was the family home that gets swallowed up at the end of the movie, if people have seen the movie. The first room that you enter is the living room, where you see the little girl named Carol Ann in the movie, and the TV is on, and it's the static sound, and you hear the famous line, "They're here." And there were no scare actors in this room. So first room, no scare actors. And just a little fact, the voice that you hear in this maze, also in the 2018 maze, was one of John Murray's daughters pretending to play Carrie Ann.
She was the voice.
And she was 6 years old when she did it.
She wasn't in the maze, but she did the voice.
She did the voice.
Okay.
And they used the same audio, of course,
Right.
from 2018.
Right.
So then you enter a dark hallway, and you see there's a TV screen, and a hand pops out trying to grab you. Then you get to one of the famous scenes from the film where it's the kitchen, and you see the bread. It's either the bread or the ear crawling on the counter itself, and you see one of the investigators looking at it. Next scene is another famous scene where you see the same investigator in the bathroom, and in the movie he's pretending to tear his face off. Then you go into a dark hallway, and you pop out where the same investigator pops out and scares you. Then you go through more hallways, and the same investigator pops out and scares you, so you see him about 4 times. Then after going through endless dark hallways, the next room you enter is the kid's bedroom, where you see the tree coming from the window, and you see the son in bed, and he's scared of the evil clown. Then you enter a closet that leads you to another black hallway, and it's supposed to feel like you're going for the TV to get Caroline, like what they did in the movie. Then you enter the hallway, you see a giant ghost head comes out and scares you. Then you're in some cave system, which I cannot remember from the movie.
Is it the graveyard?
It's not the graveyard, it's some cave system, Mom.
Okay.
Which I'm not really sure about.
Okay.
And a scare actor pops out and he's dressed up as the
Mm-hmm.
evil clown. Then you go back into the kid's bedroom where you see the chaos happen, where things are thrown all over the place.
Right.
And this is where the portal opens in the movie. It's in the kid's room. Then the scare in this room is these giant hands come out that are the clown hands trying to grab your feet. Then you enter another hallway where you see the main ghost from the film. He's a static figure and he has a, he's basically a tall ghost with like arms and he has like a scary face. The best way that
a skeleton, I think.
Yeah, skeleton, something yeah.
Skeleton.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then at the end, you enter the graveyard, and the graves are coming up. But it's not the graveyard. The graves are popping out in front of the family's house from the film, if you remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And little fact that I found out, John Murdy did this line, because they couldn't use the original audio. So John Murdy did this, where you hear John Murdy say the famous line, and in the movie he's yelling at his boss.
Right.
And you hear him say, "You removed the headstones, but you didn't move the bodies?"
And that was John Murdy.
That was John Murdy.
Okay.
And then 3 or 4 characters in this area pop out and scare you. So 3 or 4 dead corpses pop out and scare you. And then, of course, the end of the maze, you go through 2 more hallways, and then first 2 hallways are dead. In the first 2 hallways, there are dead corpses that pop out and scare you. And then the final hallway, you see the giant skull head again. And that is the end of the maze. So, your thoughts on this, Mom?
People are not going to like this, but don't get me wrong. I liked the maze, but I hated the black walls. When we get to 2018, I have a lot more good things to say about that maze than this maze.
Okay.
Sorry to say that, but my score is like a 2 out of 5 because of the black hallways. Yeah, my score is a 2 out of 5. I enjoyed it, but not that much.
Okay.
Your score, James?
For me, I have to say the same. I don't want to say too much about the 2018 maze.
Until we get to
it. But, I did not like having so many black walls. So, it kind of broke the flow of the maze.
Mm-hmm.
I will say if people went to the 2018 one, I think you guys know what I'm talking about, but I don't want to spoil it for anyone, and I'll talk about it when we get to 2018. But with those black walls, yeah, 2 out of 10. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed them.
2 out of 5.
2 out of 5. Sorry, 2 out of 5, not 2 out of 10. But yeah, that's
I mean, don't get me wrong, there was good scares in there, but the black walls did it to me.
Exactly.
So.
Alright, so to end this video, we're going to do our final one, which is the Terror Tram. So, let's talk about the Terror Tram.
Okay.
And again, if I didn't mention it, we did see Terrifier, we did see Poltergeist live, so we did go through those 2. And we also went to the Terror Tram as well. So the Terror Tram, it was called Into the BlumHouse. Basically, it was the same tradition as last year. Last year, it was based off BlumHouse movies. Terror Tram was BlumHouse again. It was celebrating its 20-year anniversary. So, of course, they did BlumHouse again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to save some stuff. So the story is for this year's Terror Tram, Megan has taken over the Terror Tram, and you have to walk through some of the BlumHouse movies to survive. So it was basically in the same area like it was every single year on the Universal backlot. It started at the Universal Picture car lot.
Right.
But people still call it the Grinchmas set.
Where they filmed the Grinch.
And then, of course, it went from the Bates Motel up to the Psycho House and then through War of the Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So, pretty much it was the same layout as last year, where they have these big marquees. Last year, at the Terror Tram, you can see what movie you were going through.
Mm-hmm.
So, for this year, to start off, they had Megan meet you and dressed up from Megan 2.0, not the original Megan that you saw last year in 2024. So she does her famous line too, and she does her famous dance as well. Then more characters come out with chainsaws. Some of the characters you saw was the girl from Freaky. Some of the Purge characters, that were dressed up from the Presidents. Some of the cowboy Purge characters. Sometimes the killer from Freaky himself. And then, of course, Megan led the charge. And they all came and chased you like they do at the beginning of every Terror Tram. Then you went into the next section, which this year it was based off the Black Phone 2. Last year it was the Megan section.
Mm-hmm.
To your left you see a snowman and one of the grappers. They had the shoes that had the wheels on them, so it made it look like they were ice skating. Then to the right you saw a phone booth. Then on the wall you saw one of the Reapers come out with an axe pretending to scare you. Then you saw the famous black van that he drives. One of them is doing a magic trick. That's the distraction. And then another one comes from behind the van and scares you with an axe. And then, again, another one on the roller skates. On the shoes that have the wheels to make it look like he is skating on ice. Then we move to the Bates Motel. Sorry about that. We had our phone, so if you heard that loading, it was just a notification, so not going to worry about it. So moving on, we go to the Bates Motel, where this last year's section was split between Happy Death Date, Freaky, and then, of course, the first Black Phone based off the first movie. So this year it was broken up into two sections. The first section where it was Insidious, where you saw different characters from the Insidious movie. Some of them that you saw was the ghost that said he has your baby, the mother that turns her son into a girl, the red demon from the first movie, the man who can't breathe from the third movie, the bride in black from the second movie, and some random ones, and also the red demon from, I already said that, from the first movie. And then the second section was based on the Etz's Believer. So the first section had a fence in between. There was a fence in between you and in between the things. They had the two little girls that would pop out And then sometimes they would have the demon pop out too that led into an indoor area. The indoor area was where the two girls are tied up together and they're doing the ritual, and the demon said choose one, and if both sets of parents didn't choose any, both of the girls would be alive. If you have not seen The Exorcist Believer, go watch it, because you'll see what happens and you'll understand my reference after you watch it. Then they had a photo op for Megan, which we did do, which I already posted on my social media. Then we also did the photo op with with Norman Bates at the Psycho House. Then the last section was the Purge, like they did last year. And then in this section, they had a couple more Megans. There was one at the beginning of it where Megan was shocking a guy that was connected to a bedpost, pretending to shock him. And then you saw lots of different Purge characters from all of the Purge movies. That was throughout the section of War of the Worlds. And then it led to an indoor area again where you saw Megan coming down the stairs and pointing at you. Then the three characters that were mostly in there that popped out that scared you was the killer from Freaky, the Red Demon, and Babyface from Happy Death Day. Those were the three main characters that you saw in this last section with Megan. Sometimes it would be random characters, but it just depended. And then of course at the end was the chainsaw guys again, but this time it was the Grappers from the Black Phone 2, and that was the end of the Terror Tram. And then once we got back to the unload station, we did one final photo, and this is the one that people asked me why I was in a wheelchair. And the third set of photos that I shared from Horror Nights last year, we took a photo with the Grapper in the wheelchair, and I already explained it at the beginning of this video. That's the reason why I was in the wheelchair. And then that was the end of our Terror Tram. So your score for the Terror Tram, Mom?
I really liked it.
Well, first your thoughts and then your score.
I really liked it. It was good. I saw all the characters from the BlumHouse movies, which was really, really good. I liked the photo op with Megan and Norman Bates. My score is a 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it, and they scared the bejeebers out of me.
Yeah, I mean, BlumHouse is always a fun thing. The only thing that I'm going to say, Mom, is for me, I have to give it a 4 out of 5.
Why?
The only reason why I have to give it a 4 out of 5 is the section at the War of the Worlds. It's been purged many times, do something else.
Yeah.
But I enjoy that they changed the different sections, with Megan leading the charge. Then it was the Black Phone 2, Insidious,
and Exit Believer and stuff like that.
The only thing that I wish they would have changed was
the War of the Worlds was something else.
Was something else instead of the Purge.
Yeah.
But everything else I was happy with. I was happy with the
Megan and
Megan, the photo op, that was pretty cool. Everything like that.
Right.
Alright guys, so this is going to end part 1 of our Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood 2025 review, part 1 of the 3-part series. So I just wanted to let you guys know, I already shared this on all my social medias, but for anyone that's listening or watching this on YouTube and you don't follow me on any of my social media sites. As I said, this is the end of part 1 of our 3-part series for Halloween Horror Nights 2025 review. Part 2 will be coming out tomorrow on Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026. That part is going to be part 2, where we're going to talk about the 4 mazes on the lower lot. So that one is going to talk about all the mazes on the lower lot that we did not go through. But we did watch the videos and we wanted to give our opinions on it. Stuff like that. So part 2, as I said, will be coming out tomorrow, Wednesday, December 22nd, 2026. And that is pretty much it. So, Mom, your final thoughts on part 1 before we wrap up this video / podcast?
I liked all the mazes except Poltergeist. I was a little iffy on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But the mazes so far I really liked. The Tram I liked. So I can't wait to talk about part 2 and part 3.
Yep.
That's all I have to say.
Alright, guys. So, yeah, nothing else to say. I hope you enjoyed part 1. I hope the explanation for the wheelchair and stuff. And I just want to clarify, I don't use a wheelchair that often. I never have to use a wheelchair. I usually stand and walk everything, but that night on opening night, my back was hurting so bad. I injured my leg really bad. So that was the only time I ever used a wheelchair in the history of me going to Halloween Horror Nights. So, please, I've been working on myself so I can go to these different events without using a wheelchair. And love and support for everyone that gave me all these nice comments and stuff. I want to thank everyone for giving me this support and through the rough patch that I went through in 2025. 2026 is a brand new year, and let's make it a good one, guys. So if you want to follow my co-host Marsha on her social media sites, you can follow her on Instagram and at aka Twitter at MarshaFan1960. 1960.
1960.
Links will be down below, and if you want to follow me on my social media sites, your host James aka Jimmy Pancakes. I have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and I also post on the YouTube post for anyone that follows me just on YouTube. So we'll see you guys tomorrow for part 2, where we talk about the mazes on the lower lot. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a great rest of your day, night, afternoon, evening, whenever you're listening to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcast, or Podbean.com, or the YouTube, or Podbean's official app, or the video form on YouTube. Have a good night. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And we'll see you tomorrow for part 2 of our Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood 2025 review. Bye-bye.